Good afternoon. We are offering live interpretation in Spanish during this meeting. If you wish to hear Spanish interpretation, please click the interpretation button at the bottom right of your Zoom screen. You'll see a globe icon. If you are joining via the Zoom smartphone app, select your language by clicking More or the three dots in the bottom right corner of your Zoom screen. Select Language Interpretation, then choose Spanish and click Done. If you wish to hear only the interpreter and not the original speakers, be sure to click Mute Original Audio. Everyone must choose a language. Please do not stay in the default app. Buenas tardes. Estamos ofreciendo interpretación simultánea al español. Si desea escuchar la interpretación en español, haga clic en el botón Interpretation o Interpretación en la parte inferior derecha de la pantalla Zoom. Verá un icono del globo terráqueo. Si se está uniendo a través de la aplicación Zoom para smartphone, seleccione su idioma haciendo clic en More o Más o en los tres puntos en la esquina inferior derecha de la pantalla. Seleccione Language Interpretation o Interpretación del idioma, luego elija Spanish o Español y haga clic en Done o Listo. Si desea escuchar solo al intérprete y no a los oradores originales, asegúrese de hacer clic en Mute Original Audio o silenciar audio original. Todos deben elegir un idioma. Por favor, no se quede en la posición de apagado predeterminada. Gracias.
Está con nosotros el doctor Ciaré, nuestro superintendente, que estará aquí para discutir el
So the superintendent is with us. We will check the results of the assessment of our needs. We will spend time discussing the answers. We want to get your feedback about notifications to parents. And lastly, we are going to discuss the following steps and valuable points with you. Let's start. Thank you. We always start with our meeting understanding that people who are connected can hear us. Give me a sec to show the pictures. We have pictures of our children to remember the purpose of our labor, and we invite you to share your pictures. We will work on an activity as a community, and we will do it on the tables. We'll make some questions. So if you can join, please, in circles.
I just said that we're going to get together on the table. Yeah. So la primera pregunta es,
the first question is, what do we expect from our children's future? You can talk about it right now. The activity is to form circles. One circle will be inside and the other will be outside. And the person from the inside or the inner circle will make questions to the outer circle and vice versa. And they will have to answer at the time. The question is, what do people expect from their children's future?
Y cuando acaben, si pudieran, la próxima pregunta es si pudieran viajar a cualquier parte a donde ELAC por.
The next question was, because she didn't mention on the microphone, tell us have been in trouble when you were a kid. And the third question, which was mentioned in the microphone, is if you could travel anywhere, where would you go and why?
Y ahora vamos a seguir al título 3 con Dr. Sarash.
Good afternoon, muy buenas tardes.
Good afternoon. I want to apologize because last month I had to be here, but I went on a trip with my brother. In that trip, I realized that I am not 25 years old anymore, so I wasn't able to be here. I had to stay on my bed, to lie on my bed all day long. So I want to talk about the Title 3. But first of all, I want to share some data with you about children who are learning English in this country. Do you know what is the proportion of children learning English or classified as English learners? No, it's only 10% of from all the countries. So we're talking about millions of children that only represent, out of millions of children, only 10% are learners. Most of these English learners live in Texas. Texas represents almost 21%, and we have 18%. So I just wanted to share this data with you to know, for you to know that you're not alone, nor your children. I mean, the journey to learn a language is a difficult journey. As you may know, I have a lot of experience sharing my courses, but my own language represents 10%. So when I speak Spanish, my level of stress increases. Maybe the same happens with you, maybe the same happens with your children. So a person able to learn another language is a great achievement and very valuable. Well, Title 3. Title 3 is a program, a federal program where the state of California provides money, and then the money is taken to district and to charter schools. So the Title 3 is addressed to improve the learning, the English learning for English learners. Also, part of this money goes to migrant children. In Einstein, I wasn't given the laser, the pencil. So, in this year, we have received up to 44 or almost $44,000. There you go. So in 2023-2024, we have achieved almost $44,000 allocated to Title III, and meanwhile, this is given or provided to immigrant students. We have spent, it's not a great amount of money, but it is helpful. I want to acknowledge the fact that we receive money from the government, the federal government, and for the federal government, children are a priority. And it's a priority for them to have a good level of English, but also other languages. Today I am speaking in Spanish because do you know what is the proportion of children speak Spanish as a first language? 75%. 75% from all the children all over the country are classified as EL, but they speak Spanish at home. We have to acknowledge that in Einstein, we have several languages, and all of them are super valuable. Is there any question? I just wanted to mention this. Is there a question about what I just said? Last time, I promised to have English classes for parents in Einstein, but I didn't give you a date. because this requires time and planning. But I can tell you that I am working on it because what you say is super important. Thank you. Good afternoon. Right now, we are going to reflect or recall what we saw the last meeting. We identified the needs that we are going to discuss briefly, and we assessed the increase of time of uh, teaching, and this was held by with leaders and teachers. Teachers know about their time, what is the time they have to invest on children to teach them from kinder to eighth grade. And also, we talked about how to increase the commitment from families with the reading because it is important for children and students to improve their reading skills. And we also talked about how to get greater support in math and vocabulary and mentorship, and also a better preparation for the exams, either for students and families. How about how students can be prepared for an exam at home, because always taking an exam is very stressful. And also, we talked about how to improve attendance to classes involving families. For example, not just telling children that if they have headache, they can miss or skip the school, but only if they are super sick or if it is really important for them to skip the school, it's okay. But otherwise, we should promote or foster attendance. Good afternoon. My name is Cindy, and I want to talk about LPAC. We have a coordinator, it's me, and Michelle Moreno. So I will want to tell you who takes an LPAC test, why is it important to take it, what is the process of assessment, and the results of LPAC. We are going to talk about reclassification, and we will explain the notifications we send to parents so that you can tell us what do you think about notifications, and we will provide available resources for the apps. You speak very fast. Okay, so who is tested or assessed with the ALPAC? Uh, for students whose mother tongue is not English, well, we based on the survey, we provide this kind of testing. So the first time the students enroll to school, they answer this survey to realize if their mother tongue is different to English. So if it is needed, they take the test. And if they speak another language in their house, in their home, we have to assess them. Also, students with disabilities may take the LPAC. It is called alternative LPAC. Let's say that we have another diagnostic test to find this out. So these are the people who are assessed based on the state and federal laws It is tested from 10 to 12, and sorry, they demand that students from kindergarten to 12 degree or grade from 3 to 21 years old whose mother tongue is not English, they are submitted to the ELPAC, the English Learner Competence Testing. And we have to support this kind of students, and also this is legal. Now I am going to talk about the notifications we send to parents. It is important for you to remember that if you have any situation, we're trying to do our best to make it more feasible or easier to understand results and why we are performing this kind of assessment. So once you answer the survey, you will be sent a notification which is called an initial notice. Then you can call us to tell us, you know, my child doesn't need this test, they are proficient in English, this was a mistake, or we can see the case, you know. In case the parents tell us, okay, by law, by law, we have to perform the test, the initial test, because this test is sent, and this way we can know if they are eligible for the LPAC program. Every step we make for children, on children, we tell this to parents, we communicate this to parents. So you will see the first page, which provides the specifications, and this is sent by email, or to notify that your kid will take the initial test. In the second page, there is a cumulative notice. Once you receive the initial notice, you are sent the cumulative notice to let you know that your child is eligible for the test. Otherwise, you won't receive the second notice. Does it make sense what I am telling you, or are there questions? So the information of this test is to discuss how much support children need or English learners need to have a successful school year with access for areas listening, speaking, reading, and writing in English. For reading and oral comprehension, they listen to a story and we make questions. For speaking, we ask them to tell a story or a description. To read, we ask them to read a short story, and then we make questions. And for writing, we ask them to describe an image or to provide their feedback or opinion about a topic. All this is based on their grade and level, so we are not going to assess kindergarten with questions for an eighth grade. Sorry. I cannot hear the question. Good question. Let's say that a child applies and he mentions that he speaks another language besides English. He takes an exam and this is assessed or rated scored by the state, because and once the state sends the results, then we determine if the child applies for the summative testing which is every year, or if the child may graduate by the county. There are many children who take the initial, and then they are eligible for the summative test, or other children say that they speak another language, but they don't, and they know enough, so they are not eligible for the program. So the test is taken since kindergarten, or if they live in Arizona and they come to San Diego, they need to take also the test. Every state has its own system, so if the state changes, if the children move to another state, they have to start with the program over again. We chose ELPAC, and these are alpacas. That's why we chose the llama. So, what is the difference? Well, this is the initial LPAC, and the other is IFET. This is for the proficiency of English. LPAC, the summative LPAC, is applied for all bilingual students to know how much they are progressing in their English learning. Identifying other children regarding their progress is important to know how much they have been supported and to make them access other opportunities. So it's to measure their progress, the summative impact, where professors and other staff members guide or lead the instruction. For example, if they are if if they are struggling with writing, then a teacher helps them to work on it, and so on. And this is to avoid that they set behind in one of the four skills. As we told you, there are two exams. Is once in life, which is the initial LPAC. After 30 days, the student gets in school from kindergarten to any degree. If they come from Mexico or from any other state, we wait for 30 days for them to take the test. Then the summative is from the moment they are identified as English learners. So the initial is once in life, and summative is every year from February the 1st to May the 31st until the child passes the exam. One of the parents told me that they were shared a link to know or to help their children how the exam can be like. And this is the summative. The initial, once again, it is once in life. So what you can see here is for the initial, but also they receive the summative. So you will see three scores: the overall score, the oral score, which assesses the listening and speaking, and the reading score is reading and writing. So you will see three scores, and based on these scores, we will know if the student has passed or not. Uh, Once again, These scores are provided by the state. We only score because, well, we belong to the ELPAC program.
Okay, so con el sumativo,
So with the summative,
LPAC sumativo es una
the
evaluación
the summative LPAC is an annual assessment to measure progress of students uh, uh, towards the accomplishment of the state standards of the English language development, describing the skills of the English language which students need to have success in at school. LPAC assesses the four linguistic skills, and the students must get a level 4 in their global score to to comply with the standard, to meet the standard.
En la tercera página de su
There
paquete
is
se
a
encuentra
third
la
page of
certificación. Entonces se envía a casa
your package, which is a letter of notice of the LPAC result.
Oh, no sé si tengo.
I don't know.
Déjame, ayúdame con los vocabularios. Oh, top?
Let me see.
What? Okay. ¿Lo quieres probar? A ver si alguien, todos me entienden. Dime si no entiendes. Okay, aquí está.
Okay, so here it's a global score where children, for example, he got a 3 level, so he didn't pass. He failed. But it is moderately developed. But he needs a developing level to pass. Now, the combination between speaking and listening and reading and writing give a score, and here in every test the child can know what is the level. For example, in reading it was very good, but in writing it was not so good, or in writing and so. And this is how an instruction can be provided, the levels to get this score. And here, for instance, once they take the exam, there is a record here. There is a background of previous grades. So this means that this person has taken the exam in 6th grade, and here we can compare the grades. Other questions? Okay. As Tori mentioned, the previous slide, they have to get a 4 level in the overall score. However, maybe they can get a 3 level in some skills, but 4 in overall. Now, I want to talk about the reclassification. This is when students graduate from the program. The student here is capable to render the same level than a native speaker. Students have more class option in middle school, and students are reclassified who are reclassified experience a greater success, university and professional success. But for this, they have to have the foundations. To achieve this, there are 4 criteria a student has to meet. First of all, they have to get level 4 in the summative overall score. The second criterion is that the teacher has to determine if the student is a proficient, an English proficient. The third criterion is talking to parents to know if the child is capable or to we ask further feedback. They have to be sure, the parent has to be sure that his or her child knows English. And the fourth criterion is relative to the CAS exam. So for a student to graduate from LPAC, it's difficult because it's not just to pass, but they have to be proficient in English and in the testing stated by the state. So they have to be proficient in the CAS exam and get a 4 level overall score. Is there any question? Let me shut or pass the floor here. So, is there, well, as I was mentioning, this is, for example, every state has its own guidelines. So if they come from Texas, they have to take the exam because the scores from Texas are not applicable in California, or a child from Mexico, and we don't have any record. If the child comes from another school, let me correct. If the child comes from another school, but it's a school in California, then if a child comes from a private school in California, they don't take this exam. Every year, if the child is known as an English learner, every year he has to take an exam. Let's say that in first grade he passes, so he doesn't have to take the test anymore. But if doesn't pass, so he will take summative testing, and they have to pass. So it's like that's why we call it a gradation. So the initial is for the first time, summative is every year until he passes. Then once he passes, the student is taken to reclassification. So it depends on the child, it depends on other factors. So this is something difficult here. Something important to mention is that it's not just that the student has to pass the LPAC, but also the CAS and the summative testing. So they have to be similarly proficient as a student with English as a mother tongue. This is a great ceremony when they graduate because we feel super proud of them when they graduate and they pass the exam. So how can you help your child with LPAC? Read to your son or child, or make him read to you on a daily basis. Ask your child what he's imagining or what he's reading. Use images and ask him to tell you what is going on. Then offer your child opportunities to use English language out of school, and cheer up your child to make efforts, great effort, because exams are important. Now, as family, we always want to support our children. So here we have some questions you can make with your children. One is, what are the areas where my child goes well or is good at? Then what areas my child needs extra support, how can I help my child at home, and how my child is supported at school. One of the ways we can, because sometimes, for example, I was wondering how to ask the teacher or how to help my child. But an easy way is to ask my child. It is very important. Please check your notice or notifications pack. Please tell us if you have comments. This is a pack you received at the beginning of the meeting. As you may see in the front part, you may see the state of California. Then number two is the notice or notification. Number three is how you will see the scores based on the exams. And in the other section, it is in Spanish. Now, I have a question for you. Is it easier to receive notifications by email or in person? Internet? So was it easy for you to receive the notifications uh, for the thematic testing? Do you mean in person is in paper? Yes, but we usually did that, but this time we found more successful when we sent it by email. So it is good to know what is better for you. Do you have any comment about the notifications in front of you? You can take a few seconds to see if they are difficult or if you need something else.
Y ahí en la carta también pueden ver que, bueno, cuando las mandamos
In the letter, you can also see that when we send it in paper, we have to provide other data, and there are instructions of how to get. There's a link that take you to the testing. So that is important for us to know because you need to receive this information. The annual test from February to May. Are you sending a notification? Actually, the notification was sent by email. So you can check your spam. Maybe it was sent there. But if you didn't receive that information, you may, is there any comment or any advice about the notification? If it was in paper, was it from the school or was there the information of the school uh, in the front page? Yes, everything will be everything you receive will be from the school. The results, if we finish before or in advance, we send them. But Usually we will send them the result at the beginning of the next year, and these results are sent by mail, not email, regular mail. We're trying to digitalize or make everything electronic, but sometimes it's not possible. So, a suggestion is from you is to receive notifications by email and by mail in person. You mentioned that the test is on February 1st. Is it applied only February 1st or what? Thank you for asking. Actually, are starting with the little ones, and it depends on the people we have from the staff to help. But we started with kinder, first, second, and depending on how much we progress or advance, we keep going. It is important for you to receive the email and to go to the link so that you can get used to it, so that your children, once they come to take the test, they can feel more comfortable. So tell me, is there any other comment about the notification? Or do you know, or have you understood the reclassification process? Is it understandable? The following meeting will be on April 23. We're going to mention the resources we have. Can, so I would like you to watch the LPAC video. It is in Spanish and it is super comprehensive. It's for you to understand the message clearer. These are all the resources you have available, but the main recommendation is the video, the LPAC video.
I have two lovers in life that I
You,
Paris and potatoes. The most delicious part of this recipe is the air. If I were to catch them, I would lose all that I have in between. Empanadas. We do the cheese ones fried and these in the oven. And when you see how it goes, it's always a mystery.
Ya el horario, pero tengo hoy. Nuestras próximas reuniones será el 23 de abril y la tema
so
será
our next meeting will be on April 2023, and we will provide information about students. The topic will be attendance and also enrollment to high school, also to improve the academic success for students. Thank you very much. Thank you. Do you have any other question?
So, summarize the points from the last meeting.
I just have is after school tutoring for math offered currently, and originally were offered tutoring during after school. Is that sort of plan to have tutoring for during the session?
So we are not currently offering specific mathematics or math tutoring after school, either in after sign or after, or outside of after sign, I should say. And then there's this specific tutoring. Yeah, that was just the input from our DLAC meeting, our last meeting. And then what we're doing is, well, let me finish answering your question first. As far as specific tutoring for our English language learners that's specific to them, that is an after sign, that is not happening. What does happen in after sign is enrichment and also support with homework. My understanding was with the middle school that there's a flex period that's during hours. And with that flex period, one of our, I believe our literacy specialists and also one of our education specialists is working to provide some extra support for our English language learners during that time. So what we're doing is we're trying to take this information and see how we can use it to forward what we can do for supports, going forward. So in the past, we did have a program years ago, pre-pandemic, where we had our middle school students come over and do after-school community service and tutor in a very organized fashion our elementary school students in the area. And that was something that we had years ago that was supervised by staff members, but it was middle school students providing support in the area of math. What we want to do is take, the input based on analyzing the data from the last meeting and use that and sharing it with the staff and the leadership and SSC and talk about how do we want to move forward to better support our kids. Did that answer your question? Yeah.
Just to finance English language learning, even outside of the homework, so that in both the middle school and elementary school, that extra support can be offered as part of already existing programs. And it just hasn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that is a good wondering that we'll have to talk more about. I felt like there was something else that I was forgetting too, but the other thing, just to reiterate, is this survey will be open till the end of February. Survey that is linked in here is going out to our multilingual families, and it's really asking them all for input on not just prioritizing the needs that were identified, but also asking what are some barriers to coming to these DLAC meetings? What else can you better do to support your children as multilingual English learners? And so about this survey, our team has sent it out just to the families of our multilingual learners or English learners, and we really want the feedback so we can use that to better support our families at our school. Yes.
March 5th, the next SSC workshop that we're going to be doing for the parent family engagement policy. And so we're hoping to get as broad a representation of our families as possible for that workshop to improve upon version 1.0 from last year. So if you have the capacity in weeks, come back here for a workshop similar to what you all did last month. I think it would be very meaningful for our students and families. And
thank you, Matt. Yeah, we really do want all voices. And I just want to say thank you again to everyone who showed up. If you know how to bring more people into these meetings so that we can get more voices, please talk to any of us directly, because we really do want to hear from more of our families. So, and just a big thank you to Mrs. Julia for being here tonight, and for Superintendent Shreda, and for our amazing ELAC committee. So just round of applause for everyone. Thank you.
Y ahora vamos a hacer la rita. Va a haber una rifa y si la siguiente vez que vengan traen a alguien, les toca 2 boletos en vez de 1. 2 boletos. 2 boletos. Entonces hay que traer a más gente. Si tienen sugerencias de cómo traer a más gente, también como dijo Michelle, se las agradecemos porque sí estamos haciendo todo lo posible y muy poca gente. Entonces les agradecemos que estén aquí. Número es 47 22 801. Okay. No, it's
I wanted to do change hands. Sorry.
El próximo número es 4722 797. 797. 4722 797.
Sorry.
Okay, let's pick another one. The 4722 800. Yeah. Yeah, 800. Okay. And el próximo es 4722 798. 79. Ajá. Ok, muchas gracias por su participación y por venir a nuestra.
Thank you very much for your participation and for coming.
Friends of the AE for donating the prizes. Thank you everyone for being here. Make sure to grab some food on your way out. Thank you.